So, Batman vs Superman is coming out this week, and if you want to glimpse into the future, I will probably have a review up over here somewhere. However, in this video I wanted to make a case for the one that I'm rooting for, the Man of Steel. After being in love with comic books and superheroes for pretty much all my life, it hasn't always been the case that Superman is my favourite. But looking back, I've come to realise that as I've grown up, my attitudes towards superheroes have grown as well. As a kid, my favourite superhero was Spider-Man. I read the comics, watched the movies, TV shows, and anything else I could get my hands on. I wanted to go web swinging and climb walls and all of that. When I became a teenager, my favourite switched over to Batman. I'm still captivated by the dark, complex nature of the character and his world. The psychology and philosophy is something exemplified in the Dark Knight trilogy, which remains one of my favourite movie trilogies of all time. However, now that I'm an adult, a reality which kind of sneaks up on you by the way, I find myself more sure of the kind of person that I am, and that person is an optimist. And no superhero better embodies that ideal than Superman. But first of all, I wanted to defend some criticisms that the character often gets lobbied his way. Number 1. He's overpowered. I can understand this one. He is one of the most powerful characters in the DC universe, but overpowered? Not really. There are many characters which match him in many regards. Martian Manhunter, for instance, is just as strong and has a similar wide array of powers and abilities. Wonder Woman, Captain Atom, and Shazam have all thrown down with him, giving him a serious run for his money, and that's nothing compared to his villains. We all know Lex Luthor, but Darkseid, General Zod, Brainiac, the Annihilator, Parasite, and many more have matched him pound for pound in one-on fights. Hell, even when Superman was killed, it wasn't a rock that did it, he was literally beaten to death by Doomsday. That also segues into number 2. His only weakness is kryptonite. This simply isn't true. Yes, it's something that pretty much everyone knows, but there are many more things that can hurt him. As I mentioned, those who can match his strength can just beat him to death. But he's also susceptible to ultrasonics, electrocution, and red sun radiation. Which, on a tangent, I don't know why that's not more common because while kryptonite just makes him sick, red sunlight works as a literal power-off switch. I don't know. And number 3, his secret identity is so obvious. It's safe to say that Mr. Sunday Movies and even Henry Cavill himself have dealt with this one. But now on to number 4 and my personal reason for counting him as my favourite. Superman is way too much of a Boy Scout. I find this one a little strange as a complaint. After all, the reason Captain America is so likeable is because he really is as good as people want him to be. Yet for Superman, apparently people see that as a problem. I see it as the biggest positive. With a character like Batman, there's fan theories, editorials, and even story arcs in the comics and TV shows asking the question, does Batman really do more harm than good? Even with his no-killing rule, which has been broken numerous times by the way, it doesn't take a genius to point out that assault, torture, and maiming doesn't give the Dark Knight a clean record either. Superman, on the other hand, is the real deal. Much like Captain America, he knows what's right and wrong and will fight to the death for what he believes in. I also have a problem that in most Batman vs Superman matchups, people often say that Batman is more relatable. Let me ask, aside from the fact that Batman is also not bulletproof, how exactly does anyone relate to him as a person? Really, the reason Batman has all those gadgets, etc., is because of his money. He's a multi-billionaire who inherited his wealth. He's never had to worry about paying bills, taxes, or any of the stuff me or you think about every day. Superman, on the other hand, is just a guy. Yes, he's a guy with superpowers, but he's also just a farm boy from a small town. He did his chores, went to high school, worked for grades in college, and got himself a job in the big city. That's something way more applicable to many other lives, mine especially. However, unlike most heroes, Superman didn't rely on some inciting incident, some event that made him become a hero. Batman lost his parents, Superman lost Uncle Ben, Captain America joined the Super Soldier program, and so on and so on. Superman simply thought, hey, I have all these powers, I should probably use them to help people. Think about this for a second. What would have happened if Bruce Wayne didn't lose his parents? He would have inherited the business, run it well, and then passed it on to his own kids. But Superman? By the mere fact that he landed in Smallville, that he was raised by the Kents, that he had those powers, meant that he would have become Superman regardless, simply because he came to the conclusion himself that it's the right thing to do. That's a brilliantly powerful but simple message. The character is literally the personification of do the right thing, be a good person. Now if you think that's uncool or boring, then fine. That's fine. You can prefer Batman or Iron Man all you want, all the power to you, seriously. But it's impossible to deny that the moral connotations present from the mere existence of a character like Superman is inspiring, important, and why I think it makes him the best superhero ever. Fade to black. Man, that got cheesy, didn't it? If you like this video, then how about check out some other videos? And if you like those videos, then how about subscribe it? And I also have Facebook and Twitter if you do those things. Have a good one.